Hey everybody, I'm back again with another video. This time I'm going over the Mossy Oak and the Bee multi-tool from Amazon. Are they any good? Let's find out. So these no-frill boxes are basically just cardboard. You pop the two units out. You will see that their pouches are pretty much the same. They have the bits in the front, and the only difference is the icon on the top. Now the snaps are slightly different also. Now when you pull out the Bee, it has a nice titanium finish. When you pull out the Mossy Oak, it has this really shiny brushed stainless steel. Now, I actually prefer the titanium. I think it's a little bit less distracting, but that's just a personal preference. I think that they both look nice. The finish on the titanium, I just feel, is a little more subdued. As you can see, it's very flashy and actually feels quite solid and heavy in the hand. So it's definitely a sturdy tool. The Bee is almost exactly the same, except for the finish. If you pull out the serrated knife, you will see they're both in the same exact position. So the layout of these two multi-tools are exactly the same. Their locks are the same. All the tools are the same. They both have the blades are quite sharp and both in the same position, as you can see. So whether you pick either tool, you're going to get basically the exact same tool with some slight variant differences. The spring-loaded pliers feel very nice in the hand. I do like the fact that because you have such a bulky tool, it does feel very sturdy and like it could hold a bolt very easily. In a pinch, this is a good tool for any electrician or a carpenter. So I would say, and then of course camping. Let's not forget camping, because this thing has a Mondo saw in it. Now the bit holder has two positions, a 90-degree and a straight up and down, and they feel quite nice. And the bit, although the magnet in the holder is not the greatest. So you will see that both of them have the exact same length on them. But I did notice that the Bee has a slightly, I guess, larger magnet. It doesn't feel any stronger. It's just slightly more spread out. But the bits fit in there. They don't fall out if you shake it, but it's very easy to pull them in and out, which I almost find not good. I almost wish they had a ball bearing or something that would allow it to be a little bit more secure in there, because it does feel very light in this pocket. But you could also just use different bits, and they might feel a little tighter than these ones. But overall, that is a plus. Not a lot of multi-tools use standard bits. And when they do, I always give that a big plus. So I also noticed that the Mossy Oak is a little tighter. All of the screws on it seem to be a little bit tighter than the Bee. So I would say that that's a plus for the Mossy Oak. From the factory, at least, it's a little tighter. This one was a little rattly, and the other one is not. So I would say Mossy Oak is the winner in that respect as far as coming from the factory type, but I can tighten these up pretty much no problem. So these units are more the same than they are different. I would say that they're both relatively good quality for what you are paying. I mean, under $30 for a multi-tool with sharp knives, a good file, takes bits, and a really good pair of pliers and saw. is hard to find, and I believe that they are a pretty darn good buy. So let's move on with the video and let's just take a look at more of the differences that I could actually find and some pros and cons.
Things I like and don't like about these multi-tools. They're actually pretty well made. I mean, they're heavy duty. And speaking of heavy duty, that's one of the things I don't like. It's really heavy. Now it does feel good in the hand as far as like grip wise, and that might help when you're doing screw driving. Although I would put an extension on this because you can get more torque. So you can take like a extension and take that out and pop that in. Now that actually feels better to do screw driving with. So I would recommend that if you're going to use the screwdriver portion, maybe you keep this tip with you, and that way that would make it a much more functional screwdriver. And it does have a 90-degree position, which I could see where that would help in tighter situations, although this would take that away. You can take out this one and put in a longer bit to give you a little bit more torque, and it feels actually better inside than the ones that it comes with because of the contact area here. So that is another way to do it. And then you can just pop that out, pop this down. Now I did notice that on the Burberry, some of the stuff does seem a tiny bit looser on it, and so I will probably see if I can get the Torx driver and maybe tighten up the tool just a little bit, because on this one, when you pop it out, it does rattle a little bit. So that's a little rattly compared to the Mossy Oak. When you pop it out, it just feels a little bit sharper, and I don't feel a rattle. So I don't know if, yeah, that feels stiff. Yeah, this doesn't feel as fluid and feels a little more rattly. So score 1 for the Mossy Oak on that. It actually bugs me a little bit that it's so shiny. It just looks overly shiny for a tool. This, on the other hand, is just dull enough. It's not distracting. I like the finish better on this one, although they're the exact same kind of tool. When you snap open the pliers, they feel good, very springy, feel like they would be nice and secure. So give 1 for the pliers there. On the Mossy Oak, once again, feel good. Maybe a little looser on the Mossy Oak on the pliers, like the spring is not as strong. So they're not exactly the same. They're very close though. So a little bit of fit and finish differences. I think that in all actuality, the Mossy Oak feels a little tighter overall and a little bit stronger. But the Burberry looks a little bit better. And I believe that if you tighten it up, it'll probably perform exactly the same. Overall, either one would be a good choice. I think if you don't mind the finish, the Mossy Oak is a good one. I think that the snap on the Mossy Oak just snaps a little bit better too. So you hear the Mossy Oak, and then when you do the Beeberry, see, it kind of snaps, but it just doesn't snap as nicely. The bits look exactly the same, so I would call that a draw. All in all, I call it a draw for both. So overall, if I had to rate both of them, I would say they're a solid 4. They're not the best. But they're better than average. And, you know, as far as lightness, they're terrible, and that's one of the reasons why I took 1 point off. They'd be a solid 5 if they were just a little bit lighter and had a belt clip, because that's the other thing that this thing's missing is a way to clip it without the case. So without the case, you kind of have to, if you put that in your pocket, it's going to weigh down. I mean, you could do it. If you have a dedicated pocket for it or a different pouch that's the same size, you could do that too. But I would say if it had a clip to be able to clip it on your pants, that would be nice. And then maybe just reduce some of the weight, but you know, then you're giving up some of the functionality and some of the sturdiness of this unit. But I would say that this is a 3.5, only because of for me, the finish and the tightness in which the case actually fits. Other than that, they're basically the same tool, and I would utilize either one, especially like in a camping situation. It definitely feels like in the hand though, and it might be just my imagination, but this one does feel a little bit heavier to me, and I don't know why. They seem to be made out of the same materials. They seem to be exactly the same in design, but this one just a little bit heavier. So that's another, I guess, strike against this one. The shiny finish is cool, but I think this one's going to get scratched up and not look as good over the years. I think that because this has a little bit of paint on it, or titanium coating is what they said, it might look a little better after a few years. It's a utility tool. It's not supposed to look that great. Not a big deal. I like both of them. I'm just going with this one.
So anyway, guys, that's my video. Hope you found this informational and it helps your buying decisions. And I wanted to say that if you really liked it, please click like. And if you really, really liked it, please subscribe. Anyway, that's my video. Thanks for watching. I'm going to get the tech out. Later.